We studied now one of the factor which was responsible for fixing the position, that is the latitudes. What are the latitudes? The Tropic of Cancer, through which state it is passing, and as I told you, worldwise we will be doing it while doing the features of the world geography. Now next feature which we are going to study is the longitude and the application of this feature, that is application of longitudes. Now unlike the latitudes, the longitude are the lines which, imaginary lines which run from one pole to another pole. Now because these are imaginary lines which run from one pole to another pole, we can see they are not known as, they are not parallel to each other. In fact, they converge at a point because they are running from one point to another. So these are now not known as the parallels. They are the longitudes. That is the line long. How to remember? Longitude is a vertical line, latitude is an horizontal line. The longitude, length, which talks about the tallness, longitude, therefore it is a vertical line. So the line which runs from parallel, which runs from one pole to the other pole, which talks about whether the place is located on the eastern side or the western side, is known as an longitude. Now the longitude, what does it tell? It tells whether the place is located on the eastern side or on the western side. Obviously there will be some kind of a reference point, east of what, west of what. So eastern side of a prime meridian or 0 degree longitude, or on the western side of a prime meridian or 0 degree longitude. So what are the longitudes? These are the imaginary lines which run from poles to poles. They are not equal distance. They are not equidistant as they converge at the poles. As they converge at the poles, therefore they are not equidistant as they converge at the poles. Now the longitudes, because they are not equidistant, because they converge at the poles. Now these longitudes have important, or we can say these longitudes are like taking a circle and dividing it. These are the lines which run from poles to poles. As they are not of equal distance. Therefore, why they are not of equal distance? Because already we have written they therefore are not used for calculating the distance. But then what is the importance? They tell whether the place is located. They tell whether a place is located east or west of prime meridian. They tell whether the place is located on the eastern side or the western side of a prime meridian. Now, what is a prime meridian? 0 degree longitude. 0 degree longitude is known as prime meridian. Now look at the story here. Earth is a sphere. You can cut the sphere into two halves. That is exactly, you know where the equator is. Yes, this is an equator because it divides the sphere into two halves. But is there any kind of a geographical or physically placed prime meridian? Because Earth is a sphere. Even if you cut it from here, it will be equal halves. Even if you cut it from here, it will be equal halves. Even if you cut it from here, it will be equal halves. But why do what was chosen as a prime meridian, or what was need of the longitudes? First, as I said, location of a place is determined by the latitude and longitude. Second, as we did, latitude gives you distance. Now, what is the importance of a longitude? Longitude tells what is the world time, or what is the time in a particular country. It is not that each and every country in the world has its individual clocks. We cannot say that India follows its own time. We are not concerned with what the world time is. Or USA follows its own time. We are superpower. We are not concerned with what the world time is. Is it like this? Had it been like this, there would have been so much confusion. Because maybe 5 o'clock in India would have Bangladesh, which is just a neighboring country of India, or Sri Lanka, which comes in the same time zone. Had there not been standardized time zones, then maybe each and every country would have followed their own national time, and it would have led to confusion among the different countries. Now, to avoid this confusion, we have the world standard time. And we know that Indian standard time is 5.5 hours ahead of the world standard time. Why it is this? Because we are at some degrees away from the prime meridian. We are some degrees east of the prime meridian. Now, what is this prime meridian? Prime meridian, the main meridian is known as a 0 degree meridian is known as a prime meridian. Now, which meridian is a 0 degree meridian? We'll consider this red line as a 0 degree meridian. Now, any meridian could have been the prime meridian, but you remember this part in the history. In 1884, which was one of the superpowers of the world? It was UK, France. These were the few superpowers. So, by an international agreement in 1884, it was decided that the meridian which passes near the London, or from Greenwich near London, to be taken up as a prime meridian. By an international, so the meridian which passes through Royal Observatory of London, or Royal Observatory of Greenwich, it was taken up as a prime meridian. So this was considered as a prime meridian. Had there been some other superpower during that time, or had there been some other pressure group during that time, maybe the prime meridian would have shifted somewhere else. During the ancient times, maybe Greece में से prime meridian was going, but in the today's world, prime meridian is going because it has been agreed by an international agreement to put an meridian through 0 degree, that is through which passes through Greenwich near London, as a prime meridian. So, what is this prime meridian? In 1884, by an international agreement, it was decided to choose a meridian which passes through Royal Astronomical Observatory at Greenwich, near London as prime meridian, through Greenwich near London as a prime meridian. Now this prime meridian, which passes through Royal Observatory near Greenwich near London, is considered as an prime meridian, that is the 0 degree meridian. So all the other meridians, if you go eastward, because Earth is a sphere, you can divide at each and every 1 degree, you can make the Earth, divide the Earth into 360 degrees. So as we go upwards, we have divided the different, we have drawn the meridians, we have drawn the longitudes, or they are called as meridians, at a distance of around 1 degrees away from each other. And so we go either 1 degree, 180, so dividing the Earth into total of 360 degrees. That means if we take a top view, we will see that there is a 360 degree division of the Earth from different angles. And the 0 degree meridian, which passes through London, was called as a prime meridian. Now after dividing, that means into 360 degrees, that means there is 180 degree to the eastern side and 180 degree division to the western side. If this is east and this is west, so we have two kinds of division, that is 180 degree to the east and 180 degree to the west. That means all the meridians, radiate 180 degree westwards, radiate either 180 degree westwards or 180 degree eastwards. So we have two kinds of radiation, that is either 180 degree westwards or 180 degree eastwards. Now the Earth makes one complete revolution, and that the Earth rotates. So Earth makes one complete rotation, that is Earth goes behind one complete rotation of how many degrees? How many divisions are there? 360 degrees. The Earth makes one complete rotation of 360 degrees. How much time it takes for, what is the length of day and night? One complete rotation, that means 24 hours. In 24 hours. In 24 hours. Which means it completes 15 degrees. It completes 15 degrees rotation in 1. Simple maths. If Earth takes 24 hours to complete 360 degree rotation, how much time, how many degrees rotation will Earth complete in 1 hour? It is 15 degrees. That means in 1 degree, how much time the Earth will rotate for 1 degree and how much time? So that means, or we can say 1 degree in 4 minutes. 1 degree in 4 minutes. So what is a longitude? Longitude tells whether the place is located on east or west of a prime meridian. These are the lines which run from pole to poles. As they are not equidistant, that is, they are not of equal distance. Why they are not of equal distance? Because they converge. They are not used for calculating the distance. Now 0 degree longitude, which could have been any longitude, but the 0 degree longitude is known as a prime meridian. Anything could have been a prime meridian. Maybe through India also, had the Indian king been so strong that time, or maybe some international agreement, the prime meridian passing through India, the meridian which was passing through India could have been a prime meridian. But in 1884, by an international agreement, it was decided that a meridian which passes through Royal Astronomical Observatory at Greenwich near London as a prime meridian or 0 degree meridian, and all other meridians radiate either 180 degree eastwards or 180 degree westwards from the prime meridian. That means you can either go west from prime meridian, 0 degree meridian, you can either go to the east or to the west. Earth makes, now remember this, what is the importance of a meridian? The meridian cannot be used for calculating the distance. Why it cannot be used for calculating the distance? The answer is simple, because the length of a meridian varies from point to point. If we say that the place is located on 20 degree latitude from the equator, if we say that suppose a place is XYZ, if it is located at a 20 degree latitude from the equator, this is 20 degree north latitude or 20 degree south latitude from the equator, then can we know the distance? Yes, that is 20 into 111 kilometers. What is the distance from the equator? But the same logical formula, same generalization cannot be applied in the terms of a longitude. Why? Because of their converging point. For example, if it is located on a 20 degree longitude, where it is located? If it is located at this point, if it is located at this point, this point, this point, or this point, means if it is located on the equator, the distance will be larger. Why? Because the distance between the longitude is largest near the equator. As they go near the poles, they converge and the distance becomes smaller and smaller. If it is located on the polar region, there will be no distance at all between the two places on the 20 degree longitude. So the longitude generalization does not work, and therefore we cannot pinpoint exactly where it is located, the place, only by taking longitudes. Therefore we say that it cannot be used for calculating the distance. But what is the importance that if it is not used for calculating the distance, what is the importance of a meridians? Or we can ask, what is the use of these lines? What is the use of the longitudes? Now this longitude serves a very, very important purpose, as I told you, of determining the time of an area. How they determine the time of an area? Because Earth, to complete one rotation of 360 degrees, Earth takes 24 hours. That means in 1 hour it completes the rotation of a 15 degrees, or that means in 1 degree it completes the rotation of 4 minutes. How does the Earth rotate? We say sun rises in the east and sun sets in the west. Does actually the sun rise in the east if this is the Earth which is rotating, and if this is the sun? Earth rotates from west to east this way, and therefore we feel that sun is rising from east to west, because it is the Earth's rotation. Because the Earth is rotating this way from west to east, we feel as if, because if you are located on this place, you will feel as if the sun is rising from east to west. That means it is our apparent movement, because we are rotating this way, we feel that the sun is rising this way. So that means till the time, what that means, for every 1 degree rotation, whether you go to the east or whether you go to the west, there is a change of 4 minutes. Now the fact is sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So that means the areas which are in the eastern side of a prime meridian will see the sunrise faster as compared to the areas which are on the western side of the prime meridian. So we can say the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Now if I want to show you this on the world map. So the Greenwich meridian passes through London or near London, that is the 0 degrees. This is the east, this is the west. So there are different kind of meridian from the Greenwich meridian at different kind of a distance. So that means we have different kind of longitudes. I am not showing here converging, just for your understanding. Now whether when you are going towards the eastern side, you will see the sunrise faster, while when you go to the western side, we see the sunrise slower. So as a result of this, we have a world standard time and we have a local time based on the Greenwich meridian. So based on the longitude, if it is located at if it is located after 1 degree, if this is 0 degree, this is 1 degree, what will be the time difference? 4 minutes ahead or behind? It will be, if you are going on the eastern side, it will be ahead. 2 degrees, 8 minutes ahead. 10 degrees, how much time ahead? 80 degrees, how much time ahead? That is because it is located on the eastern side. Because after every 15 degrees rotation, suppose if this longitude, 0 degree longitude, then the place which is located on a 30 degree longitude, it will have an time which is ahead than the Greenwich Mean Time by how many hours? By 2 hours. If it is located on 60 degree, by 4 hours. India is located on 82 degrees, so we have 5.5 hours. That is, we are ahead of a world time by 5.5 hours. So what is the use of a longitude? The use of a longitude is that it is used for determining the time, because it shows the location of a place, whether it is located on the east or west of a prime meridian. The place which is located on the east, because the sun rises in the east, the place which is located on the east sees the daylight for the first time ahead of the places which are located on the west, and therefore as you go on the eastern side, you will have to add the time, and as you go on the western side, you will have to subtract the time from the world time and set your local time. How we will add or subtract? We add and subtract by using this. If it is located at after 15 degrees to the east, plus 1 hour. After 4 degrees after 1 degrees to the east, plus 4 minutes. So we can say, if we go eastwards, what is the use? Used to determine it is used to determine world time. It is used to determine the world time and standard time of the place. How it is used to determine, as I told you, how it is used to determine eastwards, if a person goes eastwards, then add, because add to world time, goes westwards, we subtract from world time. We subtract from the world time. What is this now? World time. The time at Greenwich. The time at Greenwich is known as world time or GMT, that is the Greenwich Mean Time. That is the Greenwich Mean Time. So it is known as Greenwich Mean Time or GMT. Now, if you are going towards the east, you will gain the time. If you are going towards the west, you will lose the time. Why will you lose the time? Because this is an area which sees the sun for the first time. Earth is a sphere. In that case, what we do, I will come to that in the international date line. So what is the GMT or Greenwich Mean Time? It is known as world time, the time which is seen at Greenwich. And how to determine our standard time? If eastward, add to the time, because eastwards gain and westwards lose. So you subtract the time from the world time. So you remember that a simple diagram this way. East gain and add, you add the time. West lose and therefore subtract the time. West lose and subtract the time. Now, because the India is located on 82.5 degree east, India, therefore our standard time is addition 5.5 hours of GMT. That means if it is 1 o'clock at GMT here, 1 p.m., India will be having a time of 6:30 p.m. So can we say that in London when people are having lunch, Indians are generally having their dinner, and the New York people in the New York or in USA are generally having their breakfast? Yes, it is true. Breakfast because morning, afternoon, lunch time and evening is the dinner time. So this is how the time, this is how what you have to remember. If you go westwards, you lose the time. Therefore, you have to subtract the time. If you gain eastwards, we gain the time. If you go eastwards, we gain the time, and therefore we have to add the time. India is located on 82.5 degree east, and therefore Indian standard time is plus 5.5 hours of Greenwich Mean Time. Example is if it's 1 o'clock here in London, then it will be 6:30 p.m. in Delhi or Madras or any other, because India is following only one time zone. So we gain or we gain time. This is what you have to remember. Now you see the case here. What about the vast country like India? What about the very, very vast country like India, which is having large extent from east to west? We know that actually in the actual condition, the time difference between, or the difference between the sunrise in the Arunachal Pradesh and Gandhinagar is 2 hours. That is, the first sunrise at this place, Arunachal, to in Gujarat is the 2 hours difference. Is 2 hours difference. In reality, that is first sunrise in reality there is a 2 hours difference in the sunrise between Gujarat and Arunachal Pradesh. That is, first sunrise occurs here, then after 2 hours the light takes time to come to the Gujarat region. Now, because why it is this? This is because India is a very, very vast country. There are many countries which are vast than India. So, do countries have different time zones? For example, Russia, you see how vast it is. India is just small part compared to Russia. Brazil is vast, USA is vast. Entire continent from north, east to west they cover. Canada is a vast country. France is a small country, but France is having so many territories. Some territories are located in the Indian Ocean, some territories are located in the Atlantic Ocean, some territories are located in Pacific Ocean. Why? Because these are the colonial countries. They were the colonial masters. So there are some territories, for example, Reunion Island, where recently the debris of a Malaysian flight was found. It is located, it is under French occupation. It is a French territory. Where is it located? It is located in Indian Ocean. So Reunion Islands of Indian Ocean. So will the countries will be having, what about vast and big countries? Some countries, because of their vast size, have different time zones. Now considering India is also vast country. Actually in reality India should have at least 2 time zones, because there is too much difference between the time in Arunachal Pradesh and the time in Gujarat. It takes 2 hours for sunrise to come and hit Gujarat after hitting Arunachal Pradesh. But to avoid the confusion, imagine that had India been having 2 different time zones, there are so much diversity and one more diversity of a time, and to avoid the confusion we follow just one time zone. It was in the news recently last 1 year when there was demand from the northeastern states to have their different time zones. Why? Because the northeastern states may experience sunlight at 5 o'clock, while the Gujarat region does not experience sunlight till 7 o'clock. So, on other hand, the northeastern region experiences sunset at 5 o'clock in the evening, while the mainland India, that is the Gujarat or on the western side, they experience the sunlight at 7 o'clock in the evening. Our time zone, there is only one time zone which passes through this region, that is 82.5 degree longitude. And based on this, we are having the time zones. Now it is good for mainland India, but it is good for this part of India, but what about the northeastern states? They are facing lot of problem because the time is based on the sunrise and sunset here, they often have to work in the darkness. There comes a point when at 5 or 7 o'clock the entire market closes because there is pitch darkness, and the people have their biological rhythm based on the sunlight, based on the sunshine. So this is one of the problem. You remember that India follows only one time zone. India follows only one time zone. What is the controversy here? The northeastern part of India suffers. Now, for the office going people, it is fine to follow time zone. For the people who work in the industries, it is okay to follow time zone. But the plants do not understand our watches. They cannot follow our own time zone. So they will follow the biological rhythm. They will follow the sunlight. And which people work on the plants? These are the farmers. The farmers in the northeast, especially, they suffer because most of our time is adjusted on basis on this part of India. Here they suffer, and as a result, in the tea plantation workers or the tea plantations have their own time, which is known as a Bagan time. Bagan time or tea gardens time. Why they have their own special time? Because where are the tea gardens located? They are located on the northeastern part of India, most of the tea gardens. If they follow this official standard time, then they will be getting up late. That is, they will be coming to work in the tea gardens much later, that is 2 hours after the sunrise, and they will be working in the dark. This does not happen. Farmer works during the daytime, mostly during the early morning time, because that is the most proper time to work. Therefore, to avoid the controversy of this, our tea garden follow the tea garden time or Bagan time, which is 1 hour ahead of Indian Standard Time. Or we can say IST. IST is Indian Standard Time is plus 5 hours 30 minutes of GMT. That is a Greenwich Mean Time. And the Bagan time is 1 hour ahead of Indian Standard Time. Indian Standard Time is based on 82.5 degree east longitude. So what is the importance of a longitude? They determine the time of a place. Now what about, we are talking only of India, what about the very, very big countries like Russia? Or what about the big countries like USA? For example, You see the extent of Russia. This entire is the Russia. Large extent. That is large east to west extent. This entire is Russia from here. Or when we saw talk of USA. USA, that is large east to west extent. So obviously here these countries cannot follow only one time. They will have different time zones. So what about the big and vast countries like Russia and USA? Big and vast countries, especially large countries, especially which have large east-west extent. Which have large east-west extent. Adopt different time zones. For practical purpose. For practical purpose. Example is France has 12 time zones. France has 12 time zones. The maximum number of time zones are in France. Maximum number of time zones are in France. Now France is some very small country as compared to India, as I have told you. But you remember France has numerous territories. Some of them are located in the Indian Ocean. Some of them are in the Atlantic Ocean. And hence they have to follow a different time zones. So a person, what do you mean by time zones? If you are traveling in such countries like Russia, vast country like Russia, from the eastern coast to the western coast, you will have to adjust your watch accordingly. Because you are crossing numerous latitudes. If you are crossing 12 latitudes, for example in Russia, if you are crossing 12 latitudes, you will have to adjust your watch accordingly because it is for the practical purpose. Even India, it requires such kind of a time zone, which because we do not follow, because our is somewhat smaller country, but the northeastern part of India suffers. So France has maximum number of time zones, that is 12. USA has 11 time zones. USA has 11 time zones. Russia has 11 time zones. Canada has 6 time zones. Canada has 6 time zones. So these are the different kinds of time zones the countries are having. So in Russia, if you are going from east to the west, you will have to adjust your watch 11 times based on the location where you are present. So Russia has 11, Canada has 6. But for the examination point of view, remember China, which is also very, very vast country, communist country, central government is very, very strong. They do not want that is, there is no decentralization like the other countries, even like India. So China has just one time zone. India also has only one time zone. China and India has one time zone. China and India. So in the vast country, remember that China has one time zone. So China and India has one time zones. Okay. So what about the big and vast countries? They adopt different time zones for practical purposes. For example, France, Russia, Canada, and India and China. India and China are having only one time zone. International date line. Very interesting topic again, an international date line. Now suppose this is an prime meridian which passes through Greenwich near London. If this is a prime meridian which passes through Greenwich near London, that is the 0-degree meridian. And if I spread the world out in a two-dimensional fact, as you will go here till the 180 degree, west, and as you come here till 180 degree east, what will be the time difference? As you are walking here, as the person is traveling here, the time increases, or there is an addition of a time by 12 hours. And if you are walking on this side, there is a subtraction of a time by 12 hours. There is a subtraction of a time, right? 12 hours. So the person going eastwards, will gain a time, will gain 12 hours at 180 degree east. Person going westwards will lose 12 hours at 180 degree west. Right? If you are starting from 0-degree meridian, if you are going here this way till India, you are gaining 5.5 hours. If you still go ahead, you will gain. What will you gain? Till your time you reach 180 degree west, you will be ahead of Greenwich Mean Time by 12 hours. Because we are dividing it into 360 degree circles. So 180 degree 12 hours time difference. Similarly, जैसे if you will go to the westwards, you will lose 12 hours. That is why, because you will lose here 12 hours. That is, there will be minus 12 hours till the time you reach the 180 degree. West. and 180 degree east. So you will lose here. So if it is 12 o'clock, if it is 12 p.m. here, Tuesday, it's 12 p.m. Tuesday. What will be the time here? After 12 hours, it will be 12 of night, that is AM, Wednesday. While what will be the time here? 12 AM, Tuesday. Means Tuesday night, Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday night. 12 o'clock we change our time. So this will be the difference. Have a look at the diagram again. If what we are doing is the international date line. So if I am talking of the prime meridian, 0 degree meridian, if you are walking eastwards till the time you reach 180 degree east, it will be 12 AM Wednesday, because you are adding 12 hours. If you walk in this side, or if you travel this side, you will be losing 12 hours until the time you reach here, it will be 180 degree west and it will be Tuesday night. Now, do you realize one thing? That Earth is a sphere. And because the Earth is a sphere, both the lines coincide. That is 180 degree east and 180 degree west. These are the same lines. Are you realizing this? That if you keep on walking, because this is what again Asia is. This is the Asia. This is America. So this part is Asia. This part is America. And the line which after crossing, now these are all imaginary lines for our convenience. It is not that you cannot cross this way. If a person wants to go from Japan to America, the person does not go this way. The flight takes the shortest possible route. Now when the flight which starts on Wednesday, that is 12 AM Wednesday, after crossing this imaginary line, when it comes to America, what is the time? Tuesday it is. If a person which starts from, it is Wednesday here, it is 12 AM Tuesday on the American side. So the flight which starts from Japan and goes to New York, what they are doing? They are going from Wednesday night to Tuesday night. Why? Because there is an imaginary line which is known as an international date line. When the person which starts from New York to Asia, they are starting on Tuesday and suddenly they come Wednesday. So they lose a day, they gain a day. So the line, an imaginary line which is at 180 degrees in the Pacific Ocean, that is this, because why it is at 180 degree, you realize that Earth is a sphere, so both these lines are same. Whether you go here, you will walk eastwards, and suddenly if you cross this, you will go into America's side. If you cross this way, you will go into Indian side. So the imaginary line, what is an international date line? It is an imaginary line. What is an international date line? It is an imaginary line where the date exactly changes after crossing it. So once you have a look, I will draw a simple diagram again. Now consider this part. You know that these are the two same lines. Now consider this part. So what is an international date line? Considering our diagram, it is 12 a.m. Wednesday here on the Asiatic side. It is America this side. This country is Japan here. What is the time here? 12 a.m. of which night? Wednesday night. In Asia, it is 12 a.m. Tuesday. In America. Why? Because you are coming from here on the western side of Greenwich Mean Time. Here you are going on the eastern side of a Greenwich Mean Time. So, for now the person who is traveling from Japan or from Russia, so what is this international date line? A line when you are traveling from here, from this part to this part. You are going from Wednesday and you are entering in the Tuesday. So what you already will, you have a you cross here from Wednesday and you go to Tuesday. That means if you are entering from Asiatic side to the American side, what will happen? You will lose the day or you will gain a day. If you are crossing from American side to the Asiatic side, what will happen is, will you gain a day or you will lose a day? What will happen if you cross the line from this way to this way? Now we are considering only the international date line. We are not considering the entire globe. We are considering only this part. So which is the eastern part? This is the eastern part. Which is the western part now? This is the western part. So if you are crossing from Tuesday night from the eastern part, and if you are going towards the western part of an international date line, not the entire globe, if you cross the international date line from east to west, you will suddenly realize that it was Tuesday in America or on this part, and here it is Wednesday night. So you cross it from east to west, you lose the day. Date line from east to west, from east to west, you lose a day. You lose a day. Why are you losing a day? Are you getting? Because you are starting from USA. If a person starts from USA on Tuesday night, and by flight maybe 2 hours, 3 hours flight, whatever it is, and if it comes here, it is suddenly Wednesday here. That means the entire, but Wednesday what? Wednesday night. But the entire Wednesday, the morning Wednesday, afternoon Wednesday, they have lost. So we say crossing the international date line from east towards the west, you lose a day. Exactly opposite of a timeline. But crossing the international date line from west to east, crossing it from west to east, you gain a day. West to east, You gain a day. That means the entire Wednesday you have lived in, a person has lived in Japan or any other country, and it takes a flight on the Wednesday night, and they cross the international date line and lands here in California. What is the day? Again Tuesday night. So again he has to live on the entire Wednesday night. So if there is some kind of a deadline for an international agreement on the Wednesday night, the person can cross here and live that Wednesday again in this. So that is what we are saying is a gain a day. Person has lived the entire Wednesday here, and again here after going after crossing the date line, we live the Wednesday again. So what you have to remember is international date line. What is an international date line? It is a line where date changes exactly by 1 day when crossed. When it is crossed, the day exactly changes by 1 day. Where is it located? It is located at 180 degree longitude in Pacific Ocean. Passing through what does it passes through? Bering Strait, that is an area between the strait between Asia and America, Fiji Islands, Tonga Islands, etc. Fiji Islands, Tonga Islands, etc. As I told you again, it is this is the line which you cross westwards, eastwards, and cross westwards, and cross westwards. If you cross eastwards, that is eastwards, if you go from east towards the west, you lose a day. And here you will gain a day. So if you are going from eastern part of Asia to the Americas, what will you do? You will lose a day. But if you are coming from America to Asia, you will gain a day. Now you look one more, that I have marked it as an curved line. It is not a straight line like longitude. It follows the 180 degree longitude, but it is not straight line. Why it is curved? Because you see there are numerous small islands which are located. There are numerous islands which are located in this region. Now if an island is located exactly at the center of an international date line, there will be confusion in the country. That is exactly which is that line. Either a country should follow the Asiatic time or the country should follow the American time. Not a single country will follow the Asiatic and American time simultaneously, because there is a difference of 1 day. So the country, to avoid this confusion, it is curved, so that some countries, to avoid the small and tiny islands, it is curved. So why it is curved? To avoid the confusion, the countries, either the tiny islands, either follow the Asiatic time or the American time. So why curved? Why it is curved? It is to avoid the countries which either follow Asiatic time or American time. The Asiatic time or the American time. Now you understand why the Japan is known as land of rising sun, because it is the region which sees the sunrise for the first time. It is the country which sees the first time and first date. So therefore the land of rising sun. Now had this international date line been straight, it would have bifurcated many islands in between. You see in the atlas there are numerous islands like Fiji Islands, Tonga Islands, Micronesia, Polynesia. Now to avoid this, we are curving this line. So asking the countries whether they want to follow the international date line on the American side or on the Asiatic side. So therefore it is curved in between, it is not straight. Why it is curved? Because to avoid the confusion. So that had it been straight, it would have bifurcated many countries. Now what you have to remember is what is the location of a Bering Strait, or from where does the international date line pass? It passes through a Bering Strait. What is a Bering Strait? Bering Strait is a strait that is a narrow body of water between Asia and America. The international date line follows which longitude? It follows 180 degree longitude. But it is not straight, it is curved. Why it is curved? To avoid the countries which either follow the Asiatic timeline or the American timeline. Or had it been straight, it would have resulted into confusion. So if you are going from Asia to America, you will lose a day. If you are coming from America to Asia, you will gain a day. Sorry, here. You will gain a day here from Asia to America, and you will lose a day from America to Asia. You will gain a day. So this is what is the international date line. So once a country goes from Asia to America, I made a small mistake here. So you will gain a day if you are going from Asia to America, and you lose a day. So if you are going eastwards, that is, if you are crossing from east towards the west. Now which east? East towards the west. You will lose the day. If you go from west towards the east, you will gain a day. West of what? International date line. Okay. So this explains our longitudes, latitudes and the lines. Now the examination questions are commonly where is the Bering Strait located? The international date line passes through what? Why is the international date line curved? Which islands? And the Tropic of Cancer passes through which of the following states in India? These are the common, or why it is known as tropics. What are torrid zone? Why it is tropical zone? Why it is a frigid zone? And the vertical sun rays and the horizontal sun rays. So this explains the basic part. Now our next topic which we are going to do is the rotation and the revolution of the earth. Okay. So thank you very much.